Welcome to the Thriving Outside the Box podcast. Join me, Dr. Kimberly Grosher, a licensed psychotherapist, executive coach, and yoga and mindfulness meditation teacher, as I shed light on the stories of leaders and entrepreneurs across industries who not only dared to create their own path in their careers, businesses, and lives, but have found a way to do it while thriving mentally, physically, and spiritually. I hope you walk away with the inspiration to do the same. So this is Dr. Kimberly Grosher, and I'm happy to welcome you back to another episode of Thriving Outside the Box. This time, my guest is Letitia Gottashe. So Letitia, go ahead and share with us who you are, what you do, and then we'll get into the conversation on how you're thriving on your path.
Well, thank you for having me, Dr. Kim. I am a writer, soon to be published. I'm trying to develop an educational consulting business, and I'm an advocate. I started this work about 20, 30 years ago. I've always advocated for children. I've taken cases up to the state for children and won. No law degree, but
You got a bunch of degrees, but law is not one of them. That's okay.
No, I've studied different types of law. I've studied corporate law, I've studied business law, I've studied education law, special education law. So I've studied different types of law, but no law degree. Real estate law, had real estate at one time, but no law degree. First one I got in the 80s, which was from the State University College at New Paltz, New York. The next degree that I got, actually, I was out of the country. I went to what was then called T.A. Marichaux College, which is now University of the West Indies campus in Grenada, West Indies. And I studied culinary arts or hospitality arts because my husband and I were thinking of doing an Airbnb down there. Came back because my mom was sick and got my master's in education, special education, and reading education from the College of New Rochelle, because in the state of New York, in order to be a certified teacher, you have to have a master's degree as well as be in a tenured position. And when I was thinking of going out of the field, I went back for a computer information systems degree at WCC, Westchester Community College. Got a computer information systems degree and a help desk support and a computer application specialist certificates. And I'm a great grandma.
Oh, that's awesome.
So business, pleasure.
Yes.
And my great-grand, my grand, and my children are my heart. So whatever I do is for and with them in mind.
So already from what I know of you, legacy in many different ways.
Yes.
So just to be clear, everyone, so we were connected through a mutual colleague, right, who thought that us being connected, you sharing your story would be beneficial to everybody, to people that are listening who are on their own journeys trying to create their own path, but also people who are doing this work while thriving from things that may have potentially detracted them from their past. Yep.
So in actuality, I'm living that dream deferred, which I'm glad that I'm able to, because I enjoyed writing long, long ago in my educational career, as a child, matter of fact. And what discouraged me is when adults start stealing your work. They started stealing my work in, junior high school? So that kind of took me aback, and I didn't really write as much as I wanted to, and got to college. And then things that I got 90s on in high school, or even A's on in my first English class in college, I was getting D's and F's in. So much so that I went to the academic support and I'm like, hey, this is what I'm getting. And they're looking at the stuff and they're like, doesn't seem to warrant an F or a D. So then I erased everything. I wrote it out and I went to the dean of the English department. And he said, well, I see there's progression in this. I said, well, the last piece you read, I got an F on. Apparently, the person had a problem with my persuasion, whether it be female or whether it be Black, and I don't pay for an education to get an F. So I dropped the class. I had the president of the college sign my drop slip.
Okay, so pause. Pause. That's so many questions. Let's back up a bit, right? Because I want to know about having your work stolen in elementary school by adults, right? But also, like, where are you from?
I'm a New Yorker. I'm
Okay.
born in Harlem and raised in the Boogie Down and moved up to Westchester when I was 16.
Okay.
So I'm a product of the NYC public school system. I went to the SUNY school system for my bachelor's, and I went to the parochial system. I went to College of New Rochelle, which no longer exists, for my master's.
Okay.
I also traveled outside the country. And while we were outside the country, we were thinking of doing an Airbnb. So I got training in the culinary arts. I got training in hospitality art. And then when I came back and it didn't work and I had gotten several accidents, I was thinking of switching careers. So I went and got qualified in computer information systems. So I have several degrees spanning several different areas that may or may converge, but I'm making them converge because I'm using all what I got.
Okay, so tell us how you're making them converge now.
Okay, so as I said, I'm an educator.
Right.
The two things that I did in my life is type and teach, okay? Secretarial work, teaching work. So I'm putting those together. I started writing my book in about the 1980s. That day looked like the whole world wanted to get in contact with me, so I just put it down. I said, it's going to be a retirement project. Retirement came a little bit early because I was in a car accident, which forced me to retire early. Took me about 2 years to recover. And then in Westchester County, there was a program called Launch 1000. Apparently, during COVID, the Westchester County had lost about 1,000 businesses.
Wow.
So this was their way of trying to see the next 1,000 sets of businesses. So I was in the second class. That was in 22. The first time I went for my book, my son said, well, you got a book to finish. Why don't you figure out how to do this? And that's what it allowed me to do. The program went step by step. Okay, you want this business? What do you need to know in order to have this business? Well, like I said, I started writing and I got deterred because the teacher was stealing my work. And this particular work was very important to me because it was based on a picture of myself and my grandmother when I was like 5 months old. So I poured my heart into that piece. This was an after-school program. And at the end of the after-school program, they found everybody else's work, but they couldn't find mine. And I'm like, yo, what's up? My mother wanted it back because she heard it when I was doing it and everything. Couldn't bring it back.
Wow, how old were you when that happened?
I was 14. I was in the 9th grade.
And it never emerged again?
Nope. I let that kill my spirit. And then when I came back home and took the New York City teacher's test, and it was a writing test, and I didn't do so well, that speaked me out. It was like, were they really saying I was such a bad writer and I was too cocky to really know?
So several things that have happened, in your formative years, in your young adult years, that really, what I get the sense of is like try to put you in your place.
Yeah.
Try to send you a message about who you are, what they think you're capable of, and making sure you stay in line.
And I refuse to.
So your ability to really stand up for yourself, stick up for yourself, advocacy, where did that come from?
I'm the youngest. I'm the youngest of 3 of my mother's children. And my older siblings are 5 and 7 years older than me. Okay? So basically, I was out there by myself. Because they two were okay because they had each other. I had no one. When my sister graduated high school, I graduated elementary school. When my brother graduated college, I graduated high school.
Right.
So one of the things that surprised me was the doll test because I was administered the doll test. And I was administered the doll test after seeing what Bonds-Grocher did in Alabama. Okay? In May of 1963, that's when Bonds-Grocher stuck the dogs and the water hoses. I saw that as a 4-year-old child, okay? And that Christmas, my mother gave me a 3-foot black walking doll. So when they came at me with the doll test, what doll is ugly? I don't know. But I know this doll looks like me and this doll is beautiful. So when I heard the results later years, I'm like, wow, people really hated themselves. Or people learned to hate themselves, or people learned that they weren't beautiful. Mm-hmm. And this is the time when you're hearing, a couple of years after that, you're hearing Black is beautiful. But in 63, 64, you wasn't hearing that yet.
Right. So from a young age, you are already owning your strength, your beauty, who you were, and that carried through. So let's come to now, because I think this informs a lot of where you are now. And so I know one of the things that you're really passionate about is the book that you're writing. So is this a continuation of the book that you started all those years ago, or is this something else?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me about the book.
Okay, so you know how there's one person that tells stories all the time. Said, yep. You should write a book. You should write a book. So one day I sat down to write this book. And as I said, I got too many interruptions, so I put it away. When this program happened, I really took it on full force. And one of the things that I found out in this program, I knew absolutely nothing about writing a book, publishing a book, distributing a book, selling a book, anything that had to do with the book. Mm-hmm. So the program says, if you don't know, who do you have to go to? So then I got accepted to Yale's Writers Workshop one summer. Mm-hmm. I went to Writing for Your Life, Publishing in Color. So I went to different workshops and different conferences mm-hmm. to build my skill.
So was this before the Launch 1000 program or after?
After.
Okay, so this is in the last 3 and 4 years.
Yeah, this is from 2022. Because you're doing two things at one time. Mm-hmm. You're building a business as well as writing, because I'm a creative, mm-hmm. as writing. And writing doesn't always only talk about books, because I write songs. I'm a songwriter as well. Mm-hmm. And that whole industry is another thing. Mm-hmm. And eventually wanting my book to turn into some kind of visual presentation mm-hmm. and having my own music. So that's how I'm putting all my skills together.
Yes. Got it. Now, what is the book about? And I want to go back to how you moved through this process, but what is the book about?
At first, I just wanted to write. Mm-hmm. I didn't have any purpose. I didn't have any nothing, right? So then when I was in this program, the first thing, people say, oh, we're in publishing, we're in this. Like, great, I got people here I could ask questions. So one of the ladies said she was in publishing. So I was asking her, okay, so I'm writing this book, blah, blah, blah. So she said, where's your outline? Outline? I need an outline? So then I wrote up an outline quick, said to her, okay, so where's this? So she's asking me for stuff I know nothing about because I don't know anything about the process. Okay. Then I gave the manuscript, what I had, to a person that's a doctor of social work at Hunter College. She's the director, right? So I gave it to her to read. She said, what happened between this period and this period? There's a whole void here. So within launch finished November, that December to January, I filled in the rest of that, right? One of the things I was very concerned about is this book was started in 1989. Mm-hmm. It is now 2022. Is there any disjointedness in my voice? Does it sound really outrageous? From all the readers that I've had, it doesn't sound totally different. So that means to me, I've kept my strong voice the whole time. Mm-hmm. And then I even have some pieces. The original thought was to put all the pieces that I've written over the years together. And I've done some of that. So parts of my previous writing are throughout my book. So then they say you have to have a purpose. I said, what's the purpose of my book? Who is this book for? What is it about? And who is it going to help? And what are the stories about? Then I started looking at the stories. I said, you know what? Most of my stories are either about child abuse, child sexual assault, or domestic violence. So those are the topics that I cover, along with other topics that intertwine with those. But those are the major 3 topics.
Okay.
Child abuse, child sexual assault, and domestic violence.
So in your book, are you sharing stories like in your reflections, or is it more of a textbook or a blend? Like, what can your reader expect?
Okay. There's about 30 stories. Mm-hmm. And I begin the book before I was born. because, you got holiday time and you always have these stories. So it's all stories. I try to write it as if they were diary entries.
Okay.
But they're not diary entries. I don't have any dates or anything. But that was the concept. And I tell about the story, and then I go to the next story. It's at the end that I do all the reflections, that I pick out the different things that were in there. So I said the major topics were child abuse, child sexual assault, and domestic violence. You also have colorism. You also have sibling abuse. You also have emotional abandonment. And I break down where it was in the book, what story it was talking about, and what's the research behind it. The first story is when I was in my mother's womb, and my father got beat up by the cops. So she didn't get beat up by the cops, but she's carrying me.
And she's impacted. She's witnessing it. She's impacted by her partner being abused by the police, by the system.
And then I'm impacted because I'm in utero.
Right.
People don't think about that a lot. So that was one thing that I brought out in it. The second story talks about my grandparents and my father, because they're not from here. We're immigrants. And my grandparents were immigrants at the turn of the century. So their names are on the wall, actually, at Ellis Island.
From where?
They're from Nevis.
Okay.
Nevis, West Indies. And my grandparents came through Ellis Island. My father, by the time he came in 47, Ellis Island was already closed. And there is a difference. Being in college, people talk about care package. I'm like, what's that? Right. So there's certain things that folks were doing that people from the islands or people that were immigrants don't know about. So like, what's this? What's that? Don't know. I find it's true in generations behind me, because when I was teaching and I had some students that were high schoolers now going on to college, I used to go to people's houses and sit down with their parents and help them fill out the FAFSA, because they weren't even born here. They came over as young, and so nobody in the household knew how to do this. Nobody knew the college process. Everybody wants you to go to college. Nobody knows the process.
Now, just for people that don't know, the FAFSA is an application for federal student aid, for student loans, or aid,
student loans, college, college work study, whatever package you can get to defray the cost of tuition on the collegiate level, right? Collegiate and above, because if you don't use all of your TAP credits undergrad, you still have them for grad. A lot of people don't know that.
So I want to switch gears again for a second. There's so much, like, I could do a documentary on you.
We trying, so we can, talk.
Yes, that might be something else. What I do want to give a sense of to the people listening, because I want them to read your book, read more about your story, read more about the work that you're doing. You're on Instagram, you're on the socials and things like that.
Instagram, Facebook. I'm getting ready to go on YouTube. We're going to be all the what I call book trips and panel discussions. I read little portions of my book, and then I have a panel of experts. I'll have a psychiatrist, I'll have a social worker, I'll have a teacher, and they'll talk about, well, what is child abuse? What does the law legally say child abuse is? What does the law legally say domestic violence is? How can you tell if somebody's been abused? How can you tell if somebody, been abused, child sexual assault, domestic violence? Right. And then what do we have right now that can help move people from being a victim to a survivor to an advocate? What do we have? So that's what I bring when I do my book trips and panel discussions. I just got a confirmation from the Obama Presidential Center to do a book trip and panel discussion there. But got a problem. So I asked them, because I gave them 2 dates. I am scheduled to go to the conference on domestic violence in Austin, Texas. And the last day is the day for Obama. So I asked if I could change that. I'm hoping that's not a problem. But yeah, I'll be out in Chicago.
That is amazing. Okay. So
I'm trying to do that New York Times bestseller list, and that's 15,000 or more. So I'm trying to do the school books for the high schools and the colleges, because it's there. If you want me to read a little piece, I can read a little piece too.
Well, how about we close with that?
Okay.
I'm going to have you close with that. But before that, so I really want you to tell people how you are thriving mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally as you navigate this path in your life? Because you've done a lot in your life thus far, and you've also come up against a lot. So there's been a lot of achievement, but there's also been a lot of navigating struggle. And I know this because I'm a social worker, you're writing about a heavy topic. Like, you're doing some heavy work, right? And while it's rewarding and it's needed and it's impactful, that stuff does take a toll on you. How do you take care of you in all of this?
Spiritually, a friend of mine had introduced me to an online church called Alfred Street Baptist Church.
I know it. Yep.
Okay. And they had a Seek program. So I did Seek, which was a prayer and fasting. Couldn't do the fasting so much, but I did do the other activities. So that's how I try to stay grounded spiritually. They have 7:00 morning prayer, so I continue with that. I continue to read. As far as mentally, I did have a psychotherapist, and I'm going back to having a psychotherapist. So that's how I take care of mental. Also, how to take care of mental. I still have a life. I am retired. So this is my writing and doing educational consulting is the only things that I do. So I am scheduling myself to only work maybe half a year. And the other half of the year, rest and relaxation. And the other half is working and setting up everything for the next cycle. Like right now, I'm setting up everything for the summer because that's when I'm going to start. So I'm setting up the emails. I'm setting up the notices to go out to say, hey, I'm here. You know, all those kind of stuff, the marketing stuff. I have a season that I prepare, and then I have a season that I execute. Prepare, execute, rest.
I love that kind of balance, a rhythm. What else?
I have a timeshare. So little trips. And now with the conferences and everything, so I'm trading my leisure a little bit to do business, but I always put leisure on the back end or the front end of that.
Okay, so you combine it.
Yeah.
It's built in.
We're never going to go to a new place and not party. Come on. Right. we got to know how you get down, you know?
Yes.
You know whether you're going to go back. Like, nah, I'm not going to go back to that conference.
Give yourself a chance to really experience where you are.
Yes.
I also noticed from Instagram, you've been walking.
Yes, I have. I started I didn't put it on January. The January, because people, you know, have different feelings about religion. So the Seek I did for myself. That was January.
Right.
For February, it's walking. And I say change and not challenge because challenge to me gives people the idea that there's a time period where it's going to stop. No, this is not a time period it's going to stop. It's a change, a lifestyle change that we need to embody. And the first thing I tell anybody, I'm John Q. Public. I am not a healthcare professional. Please see your doctor to get a program for yourself. I saw a doctor for a program for myself. What works for me may not work for you. I check in at 12, I check in at 12:15, and I check in at 12:25. And I say it every single time because I don't want anybody to sue poor old great grandma.
No, we can't have that. So even in your own personal wellness, there's like a sense of community, right? So with this walking change, right? You are engaging other people. I know with your travels, you mentioned right? So your family, loved ones are part of the traveling and the leisure time. And
oh, yeah. And there's a story behind that. I wasn't allowed to see my grandmother the time I was 11. The next time I saw her, she was in a casket. So me being a grandmother, I want to see my grandchildren. I want to see my great-grand. We all right. We have fun together. We do dances together. We go camping together. We do whatever. We're not up on each other. We know when to.
But you get that time in.
Got to.
Right. Well, there are two more things. First, is there a question that you wish I asked you that you want me to ask you now?
I think you were thorough.
Okay. All right. Anything you want to add that you didn't get to add?
Well, as I said, this project, this is the first of 3 books. It's a series. So the first book goes from in utero to age 17 when I go off to college.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The second book will pick up my first year in college until I become a motherless child, which is 41. Okay, so it goes through college, first job, marriage, children, mother's death. And I group them together, the topics. It's kind of chronological, grouped together. Because you have different types of memoirs.
Yeah.
And the third one will go from when my mom died to present. There's 3 parts of the book. And as I said, we're looking to make it either a documentary or a Netflix series or whatever. I've been playing around with it. I'm in different writing groups. I'm in film writing groups, all kinds, trying to get it out there. This is what people do when they're retired. It was something to do. I retired early. I wasn't prepared to retire. I was in a car accident and they were dismantling my office. I worked for Title I for New York City Department of Education, and there was a lawsuit brought by some of the school districts. Title I is a federal program that's administered by the state that comes down to the Board of Education. My part of the program gave services to non-public schools. Just because your child goes to Catholic school, if your child needs remedial help, they get it. As long as they are eligible in their home district and they have the standard, they get it. So that's what I was doing. So they brought a lawsuit against the Board of Ed. They won. So they dismantled our department. There were 400 teachers that had no job. They had to find a job. And in the interim, I had decided, I said, okay, well, if they're going to do that, because this was my last 2-3 years of work anyway, I said, I'll do a sabbatical, because for a year sabbatical, you would have to give them 2 years back. Got accepted into Queens College, everything. I was going to go for library sciences because I wanted to do archival work. I was in a car accident. That was it. Had to start back again. This whole right side, no good. Whole back, shoulders, had shoulder surgery, everything. But I couldn't think of anything else that I'd rather do than what I'm doing now. Because I'm like, okay, so if I wasn't writing this book, if I wasn't trying to think of ways to bring parents and schools and communities together, because everybody talks about homeschool. But there's a community that this kid got to go out to. You talk about college, but the kid still has to go out to the community. This kid still has to learn how to be in the community. They don't know to do that because their mother's working 2 and 3 jobs because she can't make enough to make ends meet. And this child has to be in this program after school and that program after school and the other program after school. So I wanted it to be more parent-centered. Like for the educational consulting thing, it's more parent-centered. And people say, well, I'm not interested in the parents. You have to be.
Yes, you do.
And see, after pre-K, because I was a pre-K teacher first. I was in Head Start first. And part of Head Start's policy, if you cannot show monthly parent involvement, you lose 15% of your funding that month. But after pre-K, you don't have that. You don't give parents time to go into the meeting. And if I can't go into the meetings, now you could do Zoom and think, but you didn't have those things before. You didn't have interpreters before as you have them planning for now. So a lot of things have changed and then a lot of things have stayed the same. And then you want to know, why have things changed that drastically? When I went to high school, there was a book like this for me to choose from. When my kids went to high school, the book looked like a telephone book. You know why? All the different languages we have to speak for instruction. All the different services we have to do in different languages for instruction, because this is the population we have.
So how does your educational consulting help meet that need with parents? What services do you offer that are parent-centered?
The book trip and parent discussion would be one of them. Then I would develop workshops for parents around the academic areas they feel they need help in to help their child.
Okay. So kind of like re-educating parents.
Yes.
Right. Well, okay. So go ahead and read an excerpt from your book.
I'm actually going to read one that's on, I'm going to read one that's already on. I don't want to give too much away.
That's fine. Yep.
Okay, let me look. Mm-hmm. This one has gone through several names. The name that we're landing on is called Family Trauma. The night my father walked into the Fort Apache police station, located in a section of the South Bronx, he had no idea he was stepping into a war zone. He just wanted answers. Dad needed to know why his brother and cousin had been arrested. But instead of an explanation, he received a brutal beating. The officer didn't hesitate. A baton, then a fist, something hard and unrelenting, repeatedly slammed into his gut. The same gut that had been stitched up just weeks before from an emergency appendectomy. My father doubled over, gasping, but the blows kept coming. Please, he begged as his body convulsed, pain radiating from his abdomen like fire spreading through dry brush. Maybe the officer thought he was being merciful when he switched his assault upward. The next blow cracked against his skull. A white-hot explosion of pain. Then another, and another. That's the first story of the book.
Talk about a drip.
Yes. I read a little bit more when I do a actual book trip.
Yeah.
See, get a little bit more.
So we are recording this in February 2026. What do you have coming up in terms of the book that people can maybe connect with?
Everything that's on Facebook and Instagram. I'll be talking with my webmaster to see when YouTube will be online and what's going to happen with YouTube. All the book trips and panel discussions that I've done since 23, they're going to be uploaded.
Okay.
So you're actually going to see what a book trip looks like. And when I do these book trips and I go around the country, I use people that are local because even though it's a national, international problem, everybody treats it differently.
Right.
How we handle it in New York may not be the same way they handle it in South Carolina, may not be the same way in Texas. So I bring in local experts to talk to the problem that's happening in their backyard. Okay? So when I was in South Carolina, they were really taken aback by the same place where slaves were sold is the same place where sex trafficking is being done now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell the people the handles on Instagram and Facebook.
It's my name, www.letitiagottashe.com. Now, if you don't know how to spell Gottashe or Letitia, Letitia, Gottashe is GOTTASHE.com. That's my Instagram. That's my Facebook. That will be my YouTube. It is my website.
Thank you so much, Letitia Gottashe. I am so honored to have you on this podcast. And also, I just can't wait to hear and read more about your story. So thank you all. Thank you for giving us a little drip, a little taste of all you've got going on and are giving to the world.